Today I'm talking about this Varmilo VA109 or VA109 V2 full-size mechanical keyboard. In this video I'll go over the specs and I'll do a sound test and I'll tell you my review and maybe some issues I have with the board, but they could be my personal issues. This keyboard should be the same as the 108. This is the Nordic ISO layout and we have just a few more letters in the alphabet. This model is equipped with the Cherry MX Silent Red, which looks kind of pink, but they sure are very silent. I learned about this from my co-worker who has been using it on the workplace. He wanted a mechanical keyboard and I didn't want to listen to like this constant clacking from a loud keyboard when he is a programmer. So together we found this very silent keyboard. And I need to preface this by saying that I don't have any experience with custom-made mechanical keyboards, only pre-made and pre-made keyboards like these non-mechanical keyboards. But even though this sure does have a silent and very thuggy sound to it that we can hear in the sound test in a minute. This keyboard also comes in a TKL or a 10 keyless version as well, and you can pick between Cherry MX Red, Blue, Brown and this Silent Red, which looks kind of pink. This model weighs in at just like 1.3 kilograms, which is about 2.8 or 2.9 pounds. Buttons are something called PBT plastics and they feel like kind of smooth and a bit rubbery to the touch. And this particular V2 model comes with something they call silicone soundproof padding and also something called EVA foam, which are supposed to dampen the sound even more from pressing the buttons. This model is wired with USB-C, but from my understanding there's a version called VBS 109 or 108, which should be the same as this one, but with a 2.4 gigahertz or Bluetooth connectivity instead of only USB-C. This model particular is a pre-made version and it looks like you can fully customize your own keyboard through the Varmilo's website. I bought this from a Swedish vendor where everything is made beforehand. Before I tell you my only few problems with this, please consider subscribing, because the more subscribers I get, the more brands I can convince me to send me products so I don't have to pay for them myself. First, here is a sound test. And then there's the only few problems I have with this board, which might be my own personal issues, but here they are anyway. Number one is these height adjustment flapping thing. My colleague told me about this by using this for every day, and I didn't think it was a real problem until I tried this myself. See, every time you want to move the keyboard, they flap over, and I thought you can just lift the keyboard every time, but the thing is that's not how I do this in real life, and that's just not how my colleague do this in real life. And after having this keyboard for testing for a few weeks, I already hate that it flaps over every time I have to move my keyboard. And I didn't know this, but apparently I'm moving my keyboard around a lot during a normal workday. Number two is, if I were to buy this now, I would sure get the wireless version because I don't like having a wire. And number three is, this is a huge keyboard somehow. It has sort of the same dimensions as my Logitech MS keys, but somehow it just feels so big to have on the desk instead of the keys. So if you don't need the mirror keys, then consider getting the TKL version instead. And then there is the fourth thing, which might be my personal preference, but I feel like the springs in the buttons are a bit too tight. I feel like it's not snappy enough. It feels kind of slow. I don't know how to explain this, but compare this to other mechanical keyboards like this, a very cheap version one here, and comparing it to my Logitech MX keys and all sort of other keyboards I have been testing, it feels like it's not that fast of a keyboard. This might be because of all the sound dampening in it. I don't know. Maybe it's just something I had to get used to because my colleague is really enjoying this keyboard for programming. I don't know, he likes fast keys and snappy keys as well. To be honest, this might be my personal problem, but somehow I always end up getting back to this Logitech MX key. And in this video right here, you can see how the Logitech MX keys is treating me after 1 year. Please consider subscribing or liking the video. Thank you for watching.